So, hello and welcome to Rothenberger Pipe Up Podcast. We always say special episode, but everyone is. We only get people on here who we like. So this is Lee. He's the big boss man at On the Tools TV. Hello, mate. How are you?
Good
to see you.
Nice to see you again, mate.
And you, mate, and you. So I won't talk about the Villa first and foremost because scoring goals, it's overrated, so we don't know about that. Hopefully by the time this goes out there'll be
we'll have scored one.
Yeah, we'll have one tonight maybe. So from your point of view, where did it all start?
We were drunk. Yeah, is how it started. So me and Ad, the other co-founder, so we've known each other since we were kids. Since primary school.
Both from Tamworth?
Yeah, both from Tamworth. Well, yeah, so he moved to Tamworth. I'm trying to remember this now, but he moved to Tamworth when I was in primary school, like year 4, something like that. From, where did he come from? He's from Chelmsford Wood.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So, and then moved to Tamworth. And then, we knew each other growing up and went on family holidays together and all that. And then we were drunk on a Friday night. He was in the trade at that point. He was on the tools. I wasn't. I was just like a nerd working in some other job, but always been like into technology, and spending a lot of time on Facebook in that current job as well. So yeah, I was like recently divorced. I was living back with my mum and dad, and we were getting drunk at my mum and dad's on a Friday night, and he was just moaning about the fact he couldn't find a plasterer on a job he was on. So he was working at he was on a hospital job over in Mansfield, like quite a big commercial contract. And he just told this story about the fact he'd had some guy turn up with a plastic bag who he'd managed to get there from a geezer he knew at the pub. And
Right, yeah.
so we just spent that night like spinning off this idea around a recruitment app that would solve, because you had things like checker trade rated people, things like that in the market, but it was very much domestic tradesperson going into your home, but there wasn't anything from a commercial standpoint, like contractor to subby and vice versa. So we just came up with this idea that we would do this app, and that was that. And so so we had we both broke at the time. Like I've just got divorced and moved back in with my mum and dad. So so we just span up a couple of credit cards to build out this idea, and just chucked it off to like freelancers in like India on some like Elance, I think it was called at the time, which is now Upwork, which is like a freelancing website. And then a couple of weeks later, Ad was like, "Oh, I've got loads of funny videos. We should set up a Facebook page." So this is back in like when is this? This is November 2000. No, August 2014, right? So this is like short form video is just starting to really bang on Facebook. What was that short form video app that was around that time? I can't remember the name of it. Oh, it'll come back to me. Vine. Yeah. So, well done. Here we go. So Vine was has just started to like drop off, and it had its moat because it only lasted like not long, did it? And Facebook short form video was really, really starting to pop. You know, the likes of like Lad Bible had been running for like 9 months. You know, it was like really early doors video, and he's like, "I've got loads of funny video people on site and all that. We'll set up a Facebook page." So our aim was we'll get 100,000 people in construction following this Facebook page, and then we'll launch the app. People will download it. We'll sell it. We'll be rich. Like that was our
That's the plan.
That's the business plan.
Yeah.
And he didn't have loads of funny videos. He had like 4, right? And so we spent the first couple of weeks just getting videos from YouTube and just stealing them and putting them on this Facebook page. And after like 2 weeks, we had 10,000 people following the page, and then after 3 months, we had 250,000. And then we were like, "Oh, like, what is going on?" And
is that how it kicked off? Is that really from just by sticking it on Facebook?
But yeah, by just and the whole point of us doing it was we just wanted a construction audience in one spot because we were broke and we had no money to market to them. So we were just like, well, when the app's ready, we'll just use that. And then like roll forward a couple of years, I guess, is that through, you know, and there's a load of stuff I can go back and forth on, but like we basically got to a point where we had over 1 million followers on the Facebook page, and we were ready to launch the app. We got the app back and it didn't work. we just had our pants pulled down on it. It just was. I think it was built in like iOS 3, and we were on iOS 7 already. And
What,
it just
from the developer?
Yeah, and it took ages. It was a nightmare using this freelance company through this website. And then during that period, we'd like launched a merch store, so people have been asking for on the tool stuff. So we did that. I quit my job off the back of that as well. So I was working at a job every night. We would get 250 messages a day, and it would just all be people wanting to feature through the channels. So I would watch every video. I would basically, because I had no life, I was basically, because I'd got divorced and I was just back with my mum and dad. I was just like this loser at home. I would come back and I would sit and I would go through every message. I'd reply to every person. I'd watch every video, and then I would store a bank of them to then go on the next day. And that was my life. I would do my 9 to 5. I would come home, I'd eat some food, and I would stay up till 1 a.m. watching videos of people like
falling off ladders. And
being idiots on site and doing all that, and telling jokes and all this, and obviously there's a load of stuff that you just couldn't put on there, as you can imagine. And then there was a load of stuff you could, and then that just became this self-fulfilling thing. It was great, and we used the community that we were building for lots of different things. Like the shop we built, the idea came because we were getting messages, people saying, have you got any on the tools like merch, like hoodies and stuff? And we were like, no. And then Ad was like, so he's still on, at this point he was probably still on the tools, before we started the shop. And he was like, just put a post on the page and we'll find out. And so we got funny slogans from people, set up this shop, and then like I put it live on Shopify, and they were like the worst designs ever. I'd like took stuff from like Google stock images and got them printed. We hadn't even got them printed. I just overlaid them on images using Canva, and then
waited for somebody to order one and then get it done.
Yeah, exactly it. And I didn't even know we were getting them done. We just did it, and then in the first couple of days, we did £800 worth of sales. And then I don't know why I did this, but we turned the shop off. We was like, oh, it's a flash thing, and then I was like, where are we getting these done? We found a shop in Tamworth who would like do absolutely clawed our eyes out for this stuff, and then I went and quit my job. I think my mum and dad thought I was having a mental breakdown. I think they were just like, this geezer's lost it. He's having a midlife crisis early. And then that month we did 15 grand worth of sales on that shop. And then that year we did 360 grand. It just of like on the tools hoodies in merch. It was mental. Yeah. 2 months later, I'd jumped off the tools and jumped on the tools. Whatever. Into the business. And it was just basically our job was to send out hoodies and pack hoodies. It was mental. We were just, and like my mum working for free, our dad's wife working for free. But I remember the first lot of those orders, that £100 of orders, I sent them out in black bin liners because I wrote out the address on and put them on plastic and like brown masking tape to stick it down. Like whoever got them, if anyone ever watches this, right, who has ordered that first batch, I would just love to meet you and give you a load of free stuff, just because like they must have got it and thought, what on earth is this, and then it just became this thing where like my mum and dad's house was just full of like stock, and then we got a tiny little like prison office. It had like prison bars on it. It was just this like dump. It just built from there, and then the media started picking up because we spotted this opportunity through. So the app had come back, it didn't work, so we were rebuilding again in the UK with an agency. We're like, this is still a good idea. And in between that, we'd started to spot people doing, or brands basically, doing work with publishers, not in our industry, but like the likes of Lab Bible and some of the bigger players. And we were like, me and Ad were like, we could do that, so we just did the thing that we always do.
So you're both working at home at this stage still?
So no, we've got this little office at this point. So we've got this little...
In the house, sorry, I meant. So in the house? Or
no, externally. It was down by the local co-op, it was. We used to try and... Basically, we would go to lunch and choose all our food off the whoopsie aisle, all the reduced... We were broke. Broke. We didn't have a... We shared a bag that we'd... we've still got it in the office. It's the satchel. And it was this bag that we bought. It's a funny story. So this was all on this base. We were like, we can do media. So we were like, what should we do? And so we started like trying to talk to brands and I suppose I can mention them. So we never did end up doing any work with them in the end. But we went to Arco, right?
Which is in Tamworth as well. I've seen that.
Yeah, but the head office is in Leeds.
Oh right. Okay.
And at the time, we didn't have a car between us, so we would walk in pissing rain down to the office, and we were like a 20-minute walk from where this office was, because it was like local to where we both lived, and we'd messaged the Arco and we got an email. Anyway, we got this meeting at Arco and we had no car to get there, and I was like, we can't get the trains, it's all going to cost too much money. So we went to a BMW garage in Sutton Coalfield, and we were like, basically like, we really want to buy this car, and they weirdly, I don't know why, but they let us test drive it, and I was like, we need it for 3 days. So we got this wicked BMW 3 Series, right? And we were like, right, we're going to go to this meeting in Leeds with this, and I remember we got like, our shirts and
so you look like the top bollocks.
Yeah, and as we were about to leave, I had to like, look at us, we've got like no bag or anything, Right. And so we pulled in town, there's a place called Ventura, that shopping centre, and we pulled into River Island, and I'd like, I'm going to go and get us a bag so that we've got, one of us has got a bag when we go and we can put our stuff in it. Okay, sound. And then he sort of goes to walk in, walks back out, and he goes, what should I? I was like, put it on the credit card. I said, only get one, don't get 2 bags. He come out with this brown satchel, and so like we went and did this pitch, and we basically were trying to give them as much as we could give them for as little as possible. Yeah. And so we'd essentially got a borrowed car. We'd bought a bag that we'd shared, and then we went up, pitched it, and a week later they were like, no, we don't want to do it.
Even with a Beamer.
yeah. And so we kept that bag. It's still in the office, and
is it like a reminder or something?
Yeah, because it was one of those things where it was like, it's one, it's a funny. We always laugh about the fact that we were just on our asses. We had no money, and this was about 2 months after we'd got the app back and it didn't work. So we were like, and the shop was becoming harder, the merch was becoming harder, Facebook was changing, we were spending more money on paid ads, it was becoming much more sophisticated, it wasn't as easy as it was. We used to do loads of money just organically, of like, here, we got this sale on, buy one, get one free, and we'd just do like $2,000 instantly off that page, you know what I mean? It was like, whereas it all started, so everything was getting harder and harder, and then we like really stuck our neck on the line to try and get them. We thought this was going to be the one, and we couldn't even get them to buy it. I think what they actually came back with, we want to do it, but we don't want to pay you any money, was what and we were like, what have we done there? Like, how have we got to a position where like, even the stuff we're doing, we can only sell it if it's free, So we were just constantly trying to like work out what the model was, because the reality was that we're in this position where we were growing like amazingly well through the channels. We couldn't get more brand awareness through that, but we couldn't get anyone to buy. Like, we couldn't get a business to do work with us on this model. So the turning point was, I had a guy who I used to work with, become really good friends with, Andy Taylor, great salesperson, and he'd actually put a bit of money in at the very beginning when we first built the business, and we needed money for a website and all that sort of stuff, because like I said, we were broke, and he chucked a bit of money in, and so he owned part of for equity, he'd owned part of the business, and I'd always been trying to get him to jump. We worked where I left, and I was like, come and do it, and we eventually like convinced him that it was the right time for him to come and do it, and his job was go get 3 deals that are going to last us a couple of years, go and like do that. And then he came on 6 months later. We had these 3 deals, big companies. We had a deal with Juice, and we had a deal with Scruffs, and we had a deal with Direct Life Business. And so we'd gone from having no media to, I think we'd committed to like 60 videos, but we didn't own a camera. Like, we had no one who could actually do it. We were just like, right, now we've got So we moved offices, employed some people, and like just basically got to it. Just did what we've been doing the last 2 years, which was kind of like working it out. And then like roll forward, I guess, to now, we're in this position where
you still work with those 3. I know obviously you Juice and you do. I've seen Juice and still doing things with you.
Juice and we do. Scruffs we don't. I was actually talking to Dan earlier actually about Scruffs, just because we were talking about like the models of different manufacturers into retailers and merchants. We stopped working with them when they got sold because they were owned by Travis Perkins, and then they got sold on, and then that's where that was just like a thing. But I loved working with Scruffs. They were wicked. They were a wicked bunch of people, brilliant brand, and actually really good clobber in my opinion, in terms of the product. And Direct Line for Business, we worked with them for years, and then we've worked with loads of different insurers now.
As you've got bigger.
As we've got bigger, yeah. So, but yeah, Juice and to this day is still a client, strongest client, brilliant team, brilliant business. And so now we're in this position where we've become more of a media and data business. I think we're more purpose driven. We I think one of the biggest media businesses in construction now. Certainly the largest construction community. I think globally, I'm still yet to see one that's bigger. Obviously, we're very focused on tradespeople in the UK. That's what the sort of purpose is built around. And yeah, we've tried loads of things, failed, and we've ended up getting into a position where we're still doing loads of that. Yeah. I've managed to build out a brilliant team of people, and we do 3 billion views a year across the channels. Work with hundreds of brands across construction, and ended up in this position where I think the brand now is probably never been in a better position, I think, in terms of how the trade view us, and I guess how our partners do as well, in terms of what we're trying to do and how we do it and all those types of things. So
it's all positive things.
And we shut the shop.
So you don't do that anymore? You don't do the merch
No, I think it's something we'll look to do, actually. It's something we're talking about with some partners around how we actually get it into a position where we essentially become a manufacturer. So we've got a brand that can go through retailers, merchants. I don't think I would ever do direct to consumer again, just because the reason we ended up shutting it was because we were in this position where we'd moved offices, and we had, I don't know, about 2,500 square foot. So it wasn't a massive place, but half of it was full of stock.
Right.
And we were doing all the printing. We bought all the machinery. We did direct to garment printing. We did the lot, and we employed people to do it, and it was great. But it was like that was becoming harder, and it was making 15% net margin or something like that. It was tough. Maybe 10 sometime. It was a bit up and down. And then the other half of the office had about 20 people in it, making 30-40%, and you were like, and that was growing like hell, and it was much easier, and we were good at it, and all those things. And I was like, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to become the biggest workwear brand in the world, or are we trying to become the biggest media out there? So we closed it down, and which was hard, because that's like that. My mum was I actually paid her then. Like, my mum worked for us at that point, and so did Dad's wife. So there was a really good team of people in there, worked with us for years.
With the heartstrings as well, because it's
exactly. It was an emotional this was our first book. It was and it was the glory days where we didn't know what we were doing, and it was you were doing 18-hour days to but it was exciting, and it was it was all of that. I didn't sack her, I didn't. We replaced people, but we closed it because it didn't make sense to the purpose. And look, we've got things coming next year where it may affect what we do on the media side. We'll always do media, but we might not do as much of it. Do you know what I mean?
If she worked quicker, would you have stayed in it?
Yeah, if she had worked, she was rubbish.
Sorry, I'm joking.
So she's a legend, OTT legend. So I think it's like any business. You go through these growth periods and transitions. We've been running. It'll be 11 years in November officially this year, and I'm already seeing a shift in terms of how content's created, where our value is being driven, how the purpose is being driven, how are we actually supporting tradespeople, and that we've only ever really been known as a media outlet, and that might 5 years time I might be sitting with you and being like, we barely do any of it anymore. Do you know what I mean? Because we're so heavily involved in driving more data now and supplying that back to the industry, and that's growing a lot, and AI's come in, and that's starting to change how we create content. I actually think it will change our position and place in the industry as well, in terms of I think it'll become more of a commodity. I think we're okay at the moment because we offer really good service, we've built out a really good reputation, and we've still got that distribution channel. But I don't know, in 3 years' time, that distribution channel might change. It might, video content in terms of its creation could be as easy as me and you talking to something, and then it appears. And in a world like that, you think, well, actually, do we still hold a place in media? We might not. Do you know what I mean? So I'm constantly trying to think about where.
How do you evolve?
How do we evolve?
Where your cog's going?
If I'd said to people in our business 2 years ago, listen, we will only have a handful of media clients in 3 years' time, they would have been like, you are mental. But I think now I can see a world where actually we transition into different things and different products. We've got something launching next year that I think will move our media into a different position. It will offer more value to tradespeople. It will, and 5 years ago, if someone had said, "Oh, you'll be doing this," I would have been like, "Not a chance. We don't know anything about it, and we're probably not positioned well enough to do it." But whereas, I think we are now. So I think for On the Tools, the journey now is understanding how we can service tradespeople in a better way and stick true to the purpose of the business, which is improving the lives of tradespeople in the UK. And I think we do that by having products that they might use and integrating the partnerships we've built over the 10 years with all the retailers and merchants and manufacturers, and going, how do we connect these two things together? So it's a really exciting period, but pivots are always hard as well. They take up a lot of time.
Is it keeping you on your toes though? Because obviously
with
media
massively.
always evolving, there's always something new. Like say the AI thing recently scares the life out of me.
This year. So this year in particular, I was going to say the last 9 months, but we're 9 months into the year now. This year particularly, I've gone on the biggest learning curve again, and I'm way more aware of it. The sort of AI revolution has got me in a position where I feel like, even though it might not be, that I've got something chasing me. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, it's going to catch us, and I might be over-exaggerating it, but I think you're always better to over-exaggerate that feeling than you are rest on it and then be like, oh my God, it's just bit my foot off. So, I feel like we've gone, I feel like at the minute I'm in the weeds a lot of like understanding what we're doing at real granular levels, just to go like, okay, does that feel like it's going to last? Does it not? Should we be doing more? How are we integrating different things? So and then you got have to sort of step back a lot and go, okay, well, what does that look like from like a big macro level, and like, how's the industry doing at the minute? Are our partners using any of these things? What are they expecting from us? What are they expecting from the industry? There's a lot of testing and back and forth at the minute of going like, that's new, we should test it, it didn't work, whereas previous years I think we haven't had as much of that. It really feels like at the minute there's a bunch of change coming.
I think since COVID, I think everybody's sort of just got back into the normal life, if you like. And now it's, like you say, suddenly this year I've heard so many things like ChatGPT. Somebody said to me once on LinkedIn, they went, "Oh, you've used that ChatGPT?" And I'm like, because I'm a bit wordy. And I was like, I've got no idea what you mean. Then you find out about it, and then we could do a podcast. It's all done in AI. Which frightened me. I was listening to Adam Buxton podcast, and they did a
whole episode where it was just, and you've just got two AI characters talking. It's bizarre, isn't it? So you give them a subject, and they basically discuss it. It's mental, isn't
incredible, absolutely incredible.
So you imagine a world where, for you guys actually, so you think about product, right? And at the moment, it's not technically, it hasn't got enough information, I don't think, to be able to create really, really good, high value, high res product videos, right? Where you could be using something, I don't know, name your most popular product.
Press tool.
Right.
Press tool, yeah.
So you couldn't do one of those at the minute where you could confidently stick it on your website as a product video, right? Yeah. But I reckon give it 12 to 18 months and you will.
I'll be out of a job.
Never
thought of that.
Yeah. But now the difference will be is you're still going to be able to, you're going to need people to deliver it, and there's going to be a load of this transition where people will push against that type of content where they're like, oh, you've just got an AI model doing, but but in the next 18 months there'll be this lovely blend of being able to increase productivity by using bits of it. But I think what will happen after that is you'll get this pull where people will want more authentic content from humans, peppered with lots of AI content that people don't care about, not having humans in. Do you know what I mean? So there's going to be a weird transition of businesses where they'll be able to have a much bigger output by investing into stuff. But then you're still going to need people to use these tools. You're still going to need it won't remove the human touch or need for sign off, but I do think we're going to go through a massive transition. But what I would say is construction's always 2-3 years behind it.
Yeah, and also
whether we like it or not, it just is.
Yeah, a lot of things you're always going to need a guy to use that tool.
Yeah.
Or I say always, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's always going to be a few years behind, as you say. I can't imagine. I mean, you get a lot of obviously car companies, and even in our head office in Germany, you've got robots doing certain things and that. But the actual physical going out to repair a customer's drain.
Yeah. I mean, cars is an interesting one. I've seen some stuff that there was a thing we're testing at the minute. I can't remember what it's called actually. There's so many different things. They're called. I'll have to get it, but in video, or it might be another one. There's so many of them. But they'd done a Mercedes advert launched all through the thing, and it was all just driven by text. And it was mind-bending how good it was. And I think the moment that it can remember product to product, because a lot of the time the challenge is that you might give it an image to do something from, or a person, for example, and actually then shot by shot, those change. So you could put your image in and be like, I want this person to deliver this for 30 seconds, and but shot by shot, you will look different in each one. Slightly different. It can't keep that like it can't recognise to keep the same person. It does the same with products, but when that changes, that's where that will like really increase, because you could see it on that Mercedes one. The car was slightly different in the shots, but it still just looked incredible, like just unreal. It was going through like woods, and I was like, wow, like how much money do these guys spend on that type of video? The crew, the actual product itself, the location, the editing tweet after it, the colouring, the sound, like it is just hundreds of thousands of pounds. And this thing knocked it up in a text format, and they probably couldn't use it, not yet. But you're like, oh wow, it's like a few modifications off being able to be used, and that for me is from a video point of view at the minute, and that's why I'm spending so much time going like, where do we exist, and what should we be doing versus what shouldn't we be doing? And look, it's a bet, because I don't know. Like, I can say, guys, I don't know. Like, everyone who works for tools, I still don't know, right? But you just have to place a bet, don't you? And go, okay, well, with all the information I've got, it feels like we're going over here. We should spend a bit more time here, and that's all you can do. But it really, really interesting journey. And over the last couple of years, it's starting to sort of change. I would say that our business will change more in the next 2 years than it has done in the previous 11. Yeah. By a long shot as well,
It's going to be really interesting to see, as you say. It's just, to me, it's a bit scary, but I'm 47, so I'm like, whoa. Okay,
well, I'm not that far, but I'm 40, and it's like, I think about education. I think about the kids, like my kids and that, and I'm like, oh, you're growing up in a wild,
total different world. My little one is 8, just turned 8. And they're all going to be like coming home with iPads. This is actually from the school to do their homework on and stuff like that. You said about the AI thing with, I won't say which member of my family, but somebody, and I won't say which position it was, doing a wedding speech. But this person's wife come over to him, and the wedding was in Kingsbury. And he goes, and she goes, have you done your speech? He went, yeah, I'll wing it. And I thought, oh God, because I've been best man and all that, and I'm like, this is a difficult job to do. And I says, are you sure? And I said, have you heard of that ChatGPT? And I just put their names in, who he was, and put it on his phone. So he started out with putting his glasses on, saying, I've done it on my phone, so I'm going to have to use my glasses. And it was literally 5 minutes earlier, and there wasn't a dry eye in the place. Everybody thought it was all from the heart, and AI did that 5 minutes before he went up there, and he was coming. He'd never heard of it. He's a few years older than me. Oh, let's give it away. But a few years older than me, and he was like, "Oh God, that's absolutely brilliant." Everybody was crying.
It's incredible. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's difficult to sort of fight against stuff that really does perform well, but there's obviously just different.
I think you need
things to think about.
Touch. I think there's always going to be a personable touch. It's like with me when I'm doing the videos, whether they're in the UK or in Germany. I might tone down the Brummie a bit for videos in Germany just so they can understand what I'm saying. Actually, we're having a bit of a Brummie, near to Brummie off here, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, yeah.
But I just think that there's always that. Whenever I'm told to, can you put this in? This needs to be said, that needs to be said about a product or whatever. I'm like, oh, don't want scripts. And they do help, just to keep you flowing. But at the same time, I always believe you've got to have that personal touch, or the personal touch of your business, like yourself with your guys. How many people work for the business?
There's 50 of us.
Wow.
Yeah. All based out of Out of Brum, out of head office in Brum, yeah.
It's Fort Dunlop, isn't it?
Yeah, Fort Dunlop, yeah.
So what's it like there? So from your humble beginning, shall we say, to where you are now, running the show with your colleagues, what's it like now? Your cogs are always going, I can see that.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, look, it's a lot different, and obviously, you know, I don't know whether you look back in rose-tinted glasses, don't you, sometimes? But if I think back to the days when it was just me and Ad, you know, and like we were just in this little room. You know, you get Facebook memories. One come up about a month ago, and I remember sending a screenshot in and sent it to in WhatsApp to Adam. I was like, remember this? And it was just two of us at a desk. I think he'd put something on his on Facebook or something. But it was, you know, we were absolutely broke, and I mean, you know, we were like, well, sharing bags, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like trying to essentially like legally steal cars for a couple of days, you know, and like, but it was exciting.
Yeah.
And whilst it felt like there was lots of jeopardy. The reality there wasn't, right? There was just lots of opportunity, and you were just, you know, you didn't know where it was coming from. We were like wet as anything as well, right? So we didn't know what was going to happen after what a decision we'd made. Whereas now, there's still loads of that, and I'm lucky because I think, you know, like the other operational director, Mark, who's our chief commercial officer, me, Ad, and Mark went to school with each other. So like, and I've got a couple of other people who are in leadership positions who I also went to school with and that I know. So we built the business out of friendships first, and then, you know, hired more. And it's why we moved to Birmingham, because we knew talent pools of trying to drag people from a major city over to Tamworth was much more difficult than the other way around, right? Yeah. So that was really the only reason we moved into Brum. But there's more jeopardy now in the sense that you place bigger bets, and when they go wrong bigger, you know. Obviously you've got 50 people to make sure that you know, that everyone gets paid and all that, and, you know, touch wood.
Pinch yourself.
Touch wood, we've never missed a payroll, so I'm always proud of that. Never got into that position, which is good. But it's different in the sense that I think, look, we're a bit more professional, I guess, you know, because you just have to sort of grow up a bit and like learn how to, you know, be in an office and all that, and you know, I had to come from a building site into our office when we were in Tamworth, and, you know, we sort of did what we wanted, and but I would say we still, I think the culture has always sort of, hopefully, has sort of still stayed true to what me and Ad were building originally, where it was, you know, I never want people to have that Sunday night feeling, that Monday morning blue. Totally. It's horrible. You know, I've had it myself in previous jobs where I stayed for years, and I hated it. I'd drive to work thinking, what can I do to get out of going there? What crap excuse can I make? Like, what, you know? I don't want people to feel like that. I think if people feel like that, then we should try and get them out of the business. And I don't mean like sack them. I mean go like, look, it's not working. Do you want to work your notice, and we'll try and help you find a new job? We've got a good recruiter. Like, you know, what's the need? So I think we're way more purpose driven now. So I'd say definitely at the beginning it was very much like, how are we going to make some money, and how does this thing stay alive? Now it's more about, how does this thing make money, but how does it make money to make sure that we can drive more money into the purpose and things like the Lost City and tool theft and skills, and there are like three things. I think more of that is being driven now by the Lost City. That's almost become we've got the purpose of like improving the lives of tradespeople in the UK, but it's underpinned now, I think, from a creative point of view around the Lost City. So I would say we've still tried to keep the same culture, and we've grown up a bit. I think we've learned a load of stuff from like by not knowing what we were doing.
Knockbacks as well.
Yeah, loads of it. You know, stuff where you think it's going to work, it doesn't, and but I think I would say what happens now is that the business is so much more. The brand and the business is so much better at communicating what it's doing and where we're heading, that I think we've never been in a better position. And like, do I prefer one or the other in terms of like, do I prefer it back then to that? Now, neither. I think they're just different. Like we're a completely different business to what we were then, and that's fine. Like, and I'll look back with really fond memories on what we were then, but I don't regret any of it. We've made some absolute catastrophic mistakes in terms of like money and people. You know, we've probably let people down along the way and not done stuff, you know, not understanding how to manage people properly. I'm a terrible manager, I always have been. I'm open in saying that to the team, where don't let me manage too many people. I should, and I don't now, which is great. I've got Ad, I've got Mark, I've got Alex, who's our COO, and like, that's it. And I don't have to manage them. They
just do.
They're part of me, and we all know what the plan is, and they fix the problems. I'm no good at that. I'm good at understanding where I think we should be heading, and I'm really good at being a nerd and working out like data bits and all that. But anything in between, I'm crap at. And I think it's about trying to understand and build out a team that know that, and that I can rely on, and equally they can rely on me to do the bits that I'm good at. And I think we've built a good culture around that, and it dips sometimes, performance dips, and and all those bits, and commercially you dip, and then you get better and you have some great times, and you don't celebrate them properly, and then you worry more about the stuff that's going crap. And but I think we're in a really good position as a business.
I think if you've got a bunch of people around you who, I keep saying the cogs, but they're always thinking, none of them, I mean, I know we all want the end of day sometimes, finish work, but like you say, I don't think, I'm not 9 to 5. I'm 5 till 8, and I mean the long version of 5 till 8, because I'm always thinking of what to do next. And if you've got a bunch of people around you who are the same sort of, not workaholics, but just always thinking like, that could work. And you need that. You need
a group of people like that, and you need a group of people that aren't like that as well. You need your people who are coming because they want to do the job that is in hand, and then they go and they get the headspace they need to get. You can't have a business of everyone who's like, you can't have 100 entrepreneurs.
No,
it doesn't work. You've got to have that. I always say it's just an 80-20 blend of like 20% of the people who are like you, who are just these maniacs who want to work for businesses who and grow it and do that, and then you need the 80% of the people who are going to come in and do the job and understand it and do the output. And I think if you can get that blend, you probably got an all right business, and it's gonna grow, and
it's respected each other's,
and it's respected each side of what's needed. And I think the other thing for us, it's just about a kind of like obsess about trying to make sure that there's that fulfillment bit, because that comes from that Monday morning blues or Sunday night blues, whatever you want to call it. Because I just think if you can give people a decent place to go to with decent people in it, and everyone understands what the business is trying to do, generally you will probably find 80 to 90% of them will be fulfilled, and they'll stay, and your churn will be low, and you'll have less management to do because people understand what's going on. But like when we might hit that point sometimes, and then we dip off it again. It's hard, like it's a hard consistency piece. But I'm just, I'm a big believer in the 80-20 rule of like, you're never going to get it perfect, and that's absolutely fine.
Get complacent, obviously, when everything's going fantastic and everybody looks happy. It's all good then.
They're the times to worry.
I'm
telling you,
absolutely.
You sit and you're coming like, we're killing it at the minute. Watch out, because something's about to come and get you. But no, generally, I think it's been a mad journey. But I think we've got a bunch of brilliant people, brilliant partners, and I think we've got a brilliant purpose in the business that drives us forward on a day to day, week basis.
Speaking of a purpose, and you mentioned a couple of things earlier, and the one I really want to speak about on your hoodie. So the Lost City, what I've seen of it. So is it thelostcity.org?
Thelostcity.org, that's it.
So I would tell anybody, especially tradespeople, but not just that, just have a look at that. It really opens your eyes, because to me, I want to get involved in one way, which we discussed earlier a little bit. But can you tell us the purpose of the Lost City, and what it's about for people who don't know?
Yeah, so the Lost City, the Lost City Project 7K is kind of its entire title, but the Project 7K bit was really the launch of it. But is a suicide prevention initiative is what we're trying to do. So we've been driving loads of different things over the years, but one of the things that we've been trying to sort of not pivot to, I guess, we again another accident. We realised that we'd had a million questions answered by tradespeople across about an 18-month period, but it was all just like sporadic, not connected, and thought, well, this is probably pretty valuable. We should do something with this, and we should do a better job with it, and all that. And so we built out this thing called Trade Brain, which is essentially just a tracker of data from the boots on the ground, and we dish that back out to industry. But what we were using it for was we were like, well, actually, we can find out a load of stuff here around what they're struggling with, where they're buying things from, all loads of different things. Some of the commercial stuff, some more CSR stuff, all of that. And then someone in the team pulled some data together, and then we had a creative agency approach us as well, and we're like, look, there's this data around this 2 people a day die to suicide in construction. And they were like, we want to do a campaign with you that can sort of bring it to life. So we were like, okay, leave it with us. So we built out this idea of the lost city. So that we took that data, and then we grabbed a load of other data and worked out that over the decade we'd lost over 7,000 people, and those 7,000 people could have built a city the same size as Cardiff. So we were like, well, why don't we try and tell that story via the lost city, use it from a data-led perspective, but then do something that will hopefully get people's attention, and we then try and raise some money. The big thing was like, well, I actually think, and again, if I sort of like look at the 10 years, the decade that we've been running the business, the industry's actually done a pretty good job of raising the awareness of ill mental health, right, across the industry, and that our industry suffers with it more than others, right? I really do think, because if I think back to the very point when we started it, no one mentioned mental health in construction, and then sort of 4 or 5 years ago, it started to become more of a conversation, and I would say the last 2 years it's become really prevalent across pretty much every brand, right, and every contractor, and there's a responsibility to talk about it and put things in place and all that. But the suicide numbers are getting worse each year, so we were like, well, we need to build an initiative out that's going to have some form of like action with it, where we can at least hang our hat on and be like, and feel like we're not just spreading awareness of it, because we're like, well, something's got to change under the hood. So the data shows that that we'd collected, we did this big white paper around mental health in construction, and it was that there was a huge gap in people accessing professional therapy, and the stats show that if that I think it's 1% of people who go through professional therapy end up taking their own life. So we were like, well, that sounds preventative, and because of the way that construction is built out, they're not like white collar. They don't have the same access to like I don't know whether you we at our place we have an EAP, like where you can ring a number, you can get support. There's all these like sort of healthcare benefits, but trades don't get that. No. Dave down the boozer's not dishing out private healthcare and medical care to the 4 subbies he's got, or do you know what I mean? It just doesn't happen. So we were like, well, let's aim to raise £2.5 million, and let's cover the next 7,000 people that need professional support. So that's what the Lost City is we are trying to raise that amount of money as soon as we can, but we're not moving off it until we hit that figure, and we won't move off it now anyway. This is just something we will do. So the launch of it, we got 7,000 hard hats, and we took 10 cities to represent the decade, 7,000 hard hats to represent the 7,000 people we'd lost, and we dropped them round those 10 cities, accompanied by road signs. So we blocked certain things off. We didn't want to do like a Just Oil thing where we end up doing a negative thing. So we did we did it outside Downing Street, House of Parliament in London. We did Piccadilly Circus, where it was like the stop sign that you would usually see in traffic, but it said stop suicide, for example. Diversion, the Lost City. There's loads of different like play on words with these signs. And we did that all one morning. We got trades involved. It was incredible. 250 signs, 7,000 hard hats, all with QR codes to thelostcity.org. We raised like just under 50 grand in the first couple of weeks. Exposure wise, we were on national telly, we were on radio. It was incredible launch. The team just did an insane job on rolling it out. And now we're sticking to that initiative. So we've got some more stuff happening next year. We've been in a bit of a planning mode since we did that big launch. We've had people run marathons for it. We've had people donate. We've had people who have families who have had people die who were tradespeople, not by suicide, just in general, who have then from collections at funerals have donated it to the Lost City. It's blown my mind. Loads of incredible stories. And now we're just on that run now to drive more people to either choose the Lost City as someone to raise money for, whether that's like a marathon, whether it's like, an expedition, climbing Snowdon. We've had Snowdon, we've had golf days,
Has it got an Instagram page?
No, it's just a website, and we drive all of the content, everything through our channels and partners' channels, anyone who wants to talk about it. And we donate 10% of Trade Brain memberships now. So any businesses that become a Trade Brain member to collect data, to gather that data, we drive donations to the Lost City via that. So a lot of everything we're doing in the business is like, okay, commercially we do these things, but how can we put the Lost City in and amongst all of this so that we can generate more awareness and ultimately raise more money? Like that's the key drive behind it.
Obviously advertise the hell out of it as well, because I think it's such a good cause. I don't know if it's a word or just
it's a cause. That's what it is. Ultimately, we've built the Lost City so it's in partnership with two of the charities, Construction Sport and Band of Builders. They're the people who do. They're the charities that do the delivery. So we don't. The only money we handle is the donations we make from Trade Brain. The rest of it all goes through the GoFundMe page or direct to those two charities. So really this is a creative vehicle, if you want to call it that, that drives the awareness. The thing is, what we're good at is we're good at looking at the data and then going, okay, how can we tell that story? And that's what the Lost City is. It's trying to tell a story of a really, really crap situation. Like we have the highest suicide rate of any industry in this country, any industry, by a mile as well. It's not even close.
I think it's because generally construction as well, people are like, I don't know, the tough guy. Yeah, we do, and they don't want to talk. And I'm happy to say that I had issues back in the day after COVID for a few different reasons, including, but like not working. Weirdly, never knew it was a thing. But I was I was in trouble because I weren't working. So that's why it's quite. And as soon as I come back, I was speaking to people. And they go, oh, how are you? Yeah. And I just told them I'd had some therapy or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And I don't see that as like back in the day, I remember, and this is all things, I won't end on this because it's very negative, an ex-girlfriend of mine back in the day, after I was with her, she committed suicide. And I remember, this is going back probably 25 years or something, and I remember thinking, because a little kid found her, and I'm like, such a selfish thing to do. That's the mindset you have, and then you start to realise as you grow up, there's something going on there.
Yeah, it wasn't spoken about, was it?
Exactly.
So I think it's just that thing, and one of the bits which I hadn't really thought about, but something we got from the study we did was around loneliness. So like, so many trades work on their own.
Yeah.
So then they're in their own head. They're not talking to people, which we know. It's like anything. Unfortunately, negative feelings manifest themselves quicker than positive ones. It's just the way our brain works. And when you're on your own, you got no one to talk to and to rationalise with, and those things. It's why obviously the whole like talk, get talking, open up is a real positive thing to do. But often, if you're working on your own, you ain't got people to do that with. You do need that professional support that you can just go. Actually, I need to get there because I haven't got this network. You're an all right geezer, so you'll have loads of pals who you can talk to. You know what I mean? And when you've got a network, that's easier to reach out when you've got close friends. Some people haven't got that. Do you know what I mean? And then where do they go? And so it's I think we've moved on from decades ago, which is brilliant. And that macho type, blokes don't talk, they just get on with it. It's starting to change. I can just see that already, which is brilliant. But the numbers get worse each year, so there's something wrong with our industry, is the reality of it. And I think anyone who thinks that that's not the case, who's in it, needs to look in the mirror. I think because we have got a responsibility for all the people who either buy our products or build the contracts that we've won or watch our videos, right? And whatever it is, we live in this industry, but the only reason this industry exists is because of the boots on the ground. That's the end of it. Exactly. And so like we have to somehow collectively try and solve that problem, and there is no reason why. I think construction it's this thing where it's like, it's construction, it'll just I'll just get on with it, it'll just sort itself out. Do you know what I mean? Whereas it's like, really, there is no reason why it should have a higher suicide rate than any other industry. Like, I get that it's a way more complex industry than most. I get it. It's more disparate. Money's always a problem. Infrastructure's a problem. The job, everything. I totally get it. We've got the highest proportion of self-employed, so that adds another layer of like complexity around people running their own business, the stresses that come along with it, getting paid, all these different things. I get all of that, but we've still got to solve that problem. There's no reason why those numbers, I guess the argument is how can anyone argue with trying to lower suicide rates? You just can't, right? There's no argument with it. So there's no argument with it morally. There's no argument with it commercially. It's not even, I'd get it if it was like, oh, well, actually, it doesn't benefit us if we do that commercially. It does. Of course it does. And again, no one can argue against that. So it's like, money-wise, morals-wise, there's no argument against it. So the industry has got to come together and do more about that. And I think that's what the Lost City... For me, I think you can look at the Lost City a lot of the time and go, oh, it's quite a depressing thing. But it's an opportunity.
Absolutely,
it's an opportunity to come together and solve a problem and show the brilliant things that this industry can do and how, it is the best industry in the world, and it's definitely the best industry in this country, and it's that the camaraderie that is built within it is second to none. Like the reliability and the relationships that are built, and I think how proud the industry is of the work that gets built. I think there's just no industry like it. But we've got that one problem that sticks out, and you go, that needs to be like, we've got to solve that. And it shouldn't. We own that as a thing at the minute, where it's like, 2 people have died. 2 people a day died suicide. We've got the worst mental health problems. We own that as like a badge at the minute, and I'm like, let's change it. Like, let's own it so that we can say like, oh, we've actually got the best. We've got the best,
the most supported,
the most supportive industry. We've got the best mental health rates possible because we have invested for so long and in such a heavy way that actually everyone who comes into it feels supported. And why haven't we got that? That is a message that can be done, and that's what I want from in a decade's time. I want the Lost City to have represented that. I want it to have represented bringing more people into the industry. Tool theft no longer being a thing.
Absolutely.
People getting paid on time and having better relationships around, disputes on site and different things like that. And for mental health to have been something that we've ended up celebrating, being like, actually, we're better than anyone. Whereas at the minute we hold that badge where we're not, and I don't think we need to.
No, that's brilliant. That's really good to listen to. I could just listen to you all day talking about that sort of thing.
With my brummy dulcet tone.
But it's just passionate, mate. And that's what it's all about. That's brilliant. So, speaking of the tool theft thing, obviously we're being told time's running out, but the tool theft thing, obviously I met you with Dan.
Of course. That's where we met. Yeah, down at Parliament.
So we could probably...
I was there again yesterday.
Was you really?
Yeah, for the Midlands kick-off around like what they're doing to support skills and all that. I
thought he's really great. And is it Steve from Multi-Trade who spoke?
Yes.
Yeah. And that was what made me think.
Yeah, great guy.
When he said that about...
What a story as well.
I want to, my tools have been robbed. My kids would be better off without me, life insurance or whatever. And that's what made me look at, obviously, after meeting yourself with the Lost City and stuff. It's just...
Yeah.
But so we've
had a win on that recently as well. So they've changed the law around the severity of people being caught with tools. So it's now in a position where if you do get caught with them, it's gonna. I think this is the bill that got passed, or the that got changed. But there's a win there because it's been like over 2 years, maybe longer, 3 years that not just us, and if anything. Schweb, the gas expert on Instagram, he's the guy who's driven it, and the guy's an absolute force, like a complete legend.
I got together with him for a bit of installer after a few days. Don't get me wrong.
Absolute legend. I can't speak highly enough of that guy. He's just he's a one-man force, and ultimately we're all following him. Do you know what I mean? We've done lots around tool theft, but he is the reason everyone's got on it, and we follow him. We're
people
like,
have tried, haven't they? And it's sort of gone.
But he's made those dents, and I think you need people like that across the industry that are going to stand up for things and make those changes, and so like we'll just continue to support him, and wherever we can act and do things and drive things forward, we'll continue to do it. But anything around skills, tool theft, and mental health, but specifically suicide. And I know it's quite a daunting topic for people to talk about. But I think we've got to hit it head on and go like, well, the numbers aren't where they need to be zero.
Yeah,
let's aim for zero.
Yeah.
You know,
everybody knows somebody.
Exactly.
Whether it be the Kevin Bacon rule, 6 people or whatever. Somebody knows somebody. So I suppose we should finish on a lighter note.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic to have you on talking about obviously the Lost City and yourself as well. We should finish with the quick fire ones, just to because this is where I get childish and change a few. But so quick fire.
Go for it.
Nice and easy. Tea or coffee?
I'm a coffee. Too much coffee as well. Mm-hmm. I think we said about it earlier. Like if you have too many, you start getting the shake. I'm a pre-12 coffee. Anything after that, I can't do it. I can't sleep and stuff. Yeah, I don't sleep anyway. So coffee after 12, no good.
Okay, so in a word, to a point. But your first job ever, what do you remember? I'll say in a word. Obviously, you can.
What it was?
Yeah. What was your first job?
I worked at Drayton Manor.
Did you?
Yeah, on the quick. So on my second day, ended up. So embarrassing this is. Ended up with a broken nose because I worked on the games. And it's soaking wet, and the guy I was with was bouncing the ball and then pretending to punch it, and then he bounced it, punched it at from where me and you are, and it boom. Just knocked me out in the rain. I was done. And I had loads of pals who I worked with. I was 14, and I had loads of pals who'd also got jobs, and they sit on the back of one of the golf trolleys, just being carted out. Yeah, shocker. Worked there for a couple of weeks. Didn't like it. Yeah. For obvious reasons, but yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Leadership style in one word.
Oh.
I'll tell you what.
That is so hard. A leadership style.
3 words because I know you.
Okay, so I would say, collaborative. I would say high expectations. So whether that's not one word, but you give me that.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
And collaborative high expectations and. Fair.
Yeah. Are the people going to agree with that?
I don't know.
If they watch.
Probably not.
Villa win in the league or an England World Cup win?
Villa win in the league?
Yeah. Villa win in the league or in England to win the World Cup?
I mean, I've got to go with England to win the World Cup.
Have you?
What, you mean what I want or what will happen?
Prefer?
Oh, what I'd prefer. Villa win in the league, man.
I was really shocked.
All day long. I just wondering what was more possible.
Yeah, what's more possible?
Villa can't even score a goal. We're the only team to have not scored a goal in the whole of English football.
League,
it's the most depressing stat ever. What would I prefer? Villa, just because, closer to my heart.
In the blood, innit?
Yeah, I couldn't. It would be one of the greatest days of my life if that ever happened. And don't get me wrong, England winning the World Cup would be phenomenal, but Villa winning the league, I have to choose that.
Just because I'm a Villa fan, I'm going to have to end it on that because there is other questions.
Yeah.
But,
absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me on, man.
All the best. Thank you. Cheers, everybody, for watching.